Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit.
Okay, welcome back, all you citizens of the world. It's time for the second segment of Live from the Heartland for the week of March 28th in the year 2025. And our first guest was from Rogers Park, and we're sticking with Rogers Park, which is my home base. It's the 49th Ward. We're still very blue up here. Glad about that. And for many years, there's been a theater down the block from the old Heartland Cafe called Lifeline. And Lifeline has been a real gift to our community, putting on plays since the late 80s. And they're going to tell us a little bit about what they've got going on. And one of those things is a benefit coming up. I hope you all pay attention to that. So our two guests are Krystine Hansen, and she is the chair of the Lifeline Theatre Board, and Frances Limoncelli from Connecticut. And she's been a member of Lifeline's artistic ensemble for 3 decades as a director, an actor, and a playwright. So good day to you. Both of you.
Hello, good morning, Michael.
Good day.
So it was Betsy Vandercook, a longtime friend of ours, who sent me an email telling me that you all were going to put on a benefit. And that's the reason we called you on, but it's really an opportunity to talk about what you've been doing, not only recently, but in the past, and probably we'll get around to some plans for the future. So who wants to share with us a little information about your current play?
I'm happy to. One of Lifeline's things that we're known for is our kids and family programming. So we do shows for grown-ups too, our main stage shows, but our kids series is normally aimed at children 4 to 10 and their grown-ups, their families, their siblings. It's good for all ages. And our current world premiere adaptation is called Leaf, based on a book by Sandra Dykman. It's a beautiful story of a polar bear who got separated from his family, floated away on an ice floe, finds himself in a strange environment. It's really about standing up for yourself. It's about being there for each other, and it's about accepting people who might be strange or foreign to your environment. It's a beautiful play, and it runs Saturdays and Sundays, 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. until April 20th.
It definitely tugs at your heartstrings.
Well, I like what I read about it. It centers on the importance of compassion for each other, for our planet, and cooperation with others. And those are things that we need more of in our current political climate. So this play is directed by Nathaniel Niemi.
That's right.
And is Nathaniel a member of the Lifeline Ensemble?
He's not, but he has been a longtime artist. I believe it's really a sweet story. The adapter Amanda Link is a member of our ensemble, and director Nathaniel Niemi. The two of them met doing one of our kids series shows in 2008. They were both in Doobie Doobie Moo, and then they were in several kids series shows together in that series, the Click Clack Moo series, where they were farm animals. And then Nathaniel went off and got his master's degree in kids and family programming direction and new work development. And meanwhile, Amanda grew up into being a director of our main stage as well as kids series. And so this was a reunion of two old friends who are kids series veterans, Lifeline veterans, putting together a project of the heart.
Can you do that moo part again? To me, it sounded like ooby dooby doo, like some kind of.
Yes, Doobie Doobie Moo. It's part of the Click Clack Moo series, but it's like scatting. Yeah, it's a musical.
Yes.
Krystine, how about telling us a little bit about the benefit you have coming up?
Absolutely. It's taking a page from Leaf. We're calling it a new Leaf. And if some of your subscribers or listeners, viewers may remember, last summer we embarked on a Save Our Stage campaign, which was indeed successful. You've helped us to save our stage, and we're here, and we want to remain here in Rogers Park. We've been here for over 40 years. And so our spring benefit, and we've always had a spring benefit, is called a new leaf, because we are turning the page and going, hoping to embark in the future. So our benefit is Friday, April 11th at 6:30 p.m. there at the theater. We're going to have some wonderful entertainment by our ensemble members. Actually, we're focusing on our kids series, which is, the stage for Leaf will be the backdrop, and we will have some lovely reminders of the wonderful canon of songs from past kids series programs. And then we will talk about the future of Lifeline, drawing upon the strength of what we've done and what we hope to do for the future, which is, we've had to limit our programming for kids series because of pandemic and people getting back into the theater. We want to make sure that we're expanding that and getting back to our roots of having, more than one kids series show a year. And also remaining very viable and very strong for our adult programming. So a new leaf, Friday, April 11th, 6:30 p.m. at the theater.
Well, it sounds like a great event. You talked about, you threw out a lot of stuff. I would like to know what are the trials and tribulations of a theater company like Lifeline in these particular times, particularly during the pandemic and the post-pandemic, because clearly there's a need to raise money for the arts, and we're looking at perhaps not being able to get as much money for the arts given our current political situation. Give us a little bit for other theaters, for just people in general, and for would-be theatrical companies, the trials and tribulations of running a community-based theater.
Well, I'm sure we both have a lot to say about that. I'll start. Well, let me start by saying that running a nonprofit arts organization is never easy, even in the best of times. In this country, many other countries have government funded arts, and it's a little bit different. But in this country, it's always been very hard. But we are seeing some unprecedented challenges, like you brought up, Michael. The pandemic got us all in the habit of staying home and streaming instead of going out and having a communal experience with other people in a dark space, watching work of theater. And then there's been a reckoning in the whole theater community about how little arts organizations, theaters in particular, have paid, especially young artists in the past. And we're on a big course correction as an industry. So we're paying people more, certainly still not enough, but we're paying people more. Then there's inflation. So costs across the board have gone up. And now, as you said, government funding is disappearing, and not just government, but private funding as well. There are so many crises that funders have priorities for, and sometimes the arts slips lower on the priority level, and that is, I think, what we're experiencing right now. So financial challenges are huge, but we've been through tough times before. And we've bounced back, and like you said, we've been in Rogers Park for 42 years. We want to be there for 42 more. And so we're the little engine that could. We're going to keep chugging along. And we're really lucky because Lifeline has passionate followers. We have fans going back decades that still come to everything. We have grown-ups coming to our kids series shows whose kids have grown and left the house years ago because they love them. So we're so lucky to have supporters, but we want more people to know about us. All those people staying home since the pandemic who now have little kids, they should be coming to our kids series. So we want them to learn about Lifeline.
Krystine, what do you have to add to that about the trials and tribulations of running your theater?
Certainly, it's as Francis alluded to, it's never been easy, and in these times, we are looking at making sure that we not only keep our current wonderful supporters, but that we're expanding our audience and trying to develop our audience. And especially in Rogers Park, we have a great deal of folks, especially with Loyola, coming in and then leaving, and it's up to us, incumbent upon us, to make sure that we're getting out and getting our message and our art in front of folks and enticing them back into the theater, and also supporting the Glenwood Avenue Arts District, which we've been an anchor of for many years, certainly with the Glenwood Avenue Arts Fest, and we helped with Dorothy Milne and Al Goldberg, really helped develop that. And that's certainly a challenge, I think, for any theater is audience development and making sure that we are staying on focus with getting to those new folks in our area, and enticing them to stick around, and giving them making sure that we're staying in front of them.
Well, you talked about the Glenwood Avenue Arts District, and back in the day, this show used to be broadcast from the stage at the Heartland Cafe, and you'll all remember that there were 3 theaters on Glenwood Avenue. There was Lifeline, there was Boho, which was in the Heartland building, and then Theo Ubuke moved down the street from the Heartland Studio Theater, where Boho ended up being, down the street to the No Exit Cafe, which we also had at the time. And so there was dinner theater going on in the No Exit. There was Lifeline down the street, and you sent plenty of people who were coming to see your plays to the Heartland to eat. And then we had Boho. We're down to 1 theater, the largest one. I know Theo Ubuke has moved over to Howard Street on the Evanston side, and I'm not sure what they're up to these days, but we're so glad that you guys are still there. And I hope that people are going to turn out for this April 11th event that you're going to have at the Lifeline Theater called New Leaf. I remember when Dorothy Milne was first around, and she'd come to the Heartland a lot. And I think I told you earlier, we had tried to get that building at one point, and it didn't go our way. And fortunately, it didn't, so that you were there. Mm-hmm. And we want to keep you there. How about giving us a little history of the theater company, how it came to be? As I recall, there were some people from Northwestern that graduated from the theater department, and they came to Rogers Park and they set it up. Give us some history and some of the plays that you put on.
That's absolutely right. Yes. Lifeline was founded in 1982 by 5 Northwestern grads, and we still have 2 of them as active ensemble members. So that's a long time. And I think they're very much... Lifeline is still a product of their original aesthetic. Northwestern has a performance studies department, which is all about literature being put on the stage. And that's what Lifeline does. We bring your favorite stories to life on the stage. So that is very much grounded in our founders' aesthetic. And as far as history goes, we, like I said, we do both grown-up programming, books, your favorite novels, and kids programming. We also do summer camps. And over our 42 years, we've been named Best Children's Theater in Chicago. We've won lots and lots of non-equity Jeff Awards, and also our original adaptations, because almost everything we do is a new world premiere developed in-house, the vast majority of our shows. Those shows have gone on to have about 600 performances on stages beyond Lifeline, beyond Chicago. So we're very, very proud to be a crucible of new work, and I think that is our legacy.
Well, that's good to hear. Anyone, do you want to add anything to that, Chris?
I'm glad that Francis used Crucible to describe that. It truly is impressive. When I learned about that, the breadth and the depth of the spread of our works across the U.S. and perhaps internationally, and knowing and up close now, being able to observe at least some of the work that goes into these original works is incredibly impressive. And to be able to say that Lifeline originated so many of these here in Rogers Park, and our influences is very well known. We're just thrilled to be able to continue that legacy.
Can you tell me a little bit about the ensemble? How many people have stuck it out and been around for a long time? How much turnover there is? How you select people to participate?
Absolutely. And thank you for that opportunity. I was looking for a chance to talk about the ensemble because I think it's one of the things that makes Lifeline unique. I mean, Chicago is known for its ensemble-based theaters, and that it's one of the reasons Chicago is the greatest theater city in the country, in my opinion. But Lifeline's ensemble works a little differently because many ensembles are mostly actors, but our ensemble, we have actors and directors and designers, but mostly everyone in the ensemble has either started out as a writer or has become a writer through their ensemble relationship. So I joined as a director, thought I would never write a play, but through the encouragement and support of the ensemble, I've now written 10 adaptations for the stage over the years. The Lifeline Ensemble is extremely involved in the new work development. So if you're going to write a script, you know that you're going to have 12 brainy people reading your first draft, reading your second draft, giving you feedback every step of the way, coming to your first rehearsal, your first run through, your first preview. And at every one of those stages, you're getting guidance, feedback, support, ideas. Dorothy Milne used to say, it's theater by committee. And I never would have felt brave enough to stretch out of my comfort zone and become an adapter without the support of that ensemble. So being around 42 years, we obviously have had turnover. Like I said, we still have 2 of our founders as members of our ensemble. And that's one extreme. And the other extreme is we just invited 5 new ensemble members this spring. So we have a great mix of old and new. Like I said, I've been an ensemble member since 1995. This is my 30th year. So we really do have a great mix of institutional knowledge and tradition with new blood and energy. And that's also part of a new leaf. And a shout out to the board, because under Chris's leadership, we also have welcomed 3 new board members in the last few months. Chris herself is a new board chair, going back only a few months. So there's a lot of energy and reinvigorated sort of dynamic feelings happening around Lifeline.
And it's been a wonderful partnership, if I may say so, Francis, with the ensemble. Whatever I've been able to bring to the table as a volunteer has been matched 3 times or threefold by the members of the ensemble. And it's really been a true privilege to help be a steward of this wonderful community organization.
Let me ask you all about Chicago theater in general. I confess to not going to a lot of theater. The only theater I've been to is the Free Street Theater, which my daughter Koya Paz, who teaches theater at Paul, is an artistic director of. And so I'm a big fan of that group, but I haven't gone to any plays. I haven't been to Theo Ubuke. I haven't been to see you in a while. Fill us in on your take on Chicago theater. You say it's the best theater town in the country. I like that. Tell us why. Fill us in a little bit on who's out there and what they're doing.
Okay, I know I cannot claim to be an expert, please. I'll just speak from one person's perspective, but one of the reasons I think Chicago is such a vital theater community is because it's been so much more affordable to produce here historically than in a city like New York. If you're going to produce a show in New York, you need to promise your investors that you're going to be able to be turning a profit within X many months and that they'll have their money back within 2 years and that it's actually going to run for 2 years. So what you get is that's commercial theater. So you're getting a lot of big titles and big stars, and the emphasis is on profit. I'm not saying there isn't wonderful art. I go to New York often as I can. But in Chicago, it's, you could get a couple of grand and a few friends together and you could produce a show. And it might be reviewed by the Chicago Tribune. So this is a very healthy environment where the magical or really exceptional elements get seen, even if they're not well funded or commercially viable. So that's my pitch for Chicago theater. And so I think we have you can produce anything with a very low bar for getting in there and getting it done, a very low economic bar. So I love that. And I just think Chicago artists are really about the work. They're a little bit less about their career and their individual goals like they are in New York, and a little bit more about the community goal and producing great work, the artistic goal. I love Chicago artists for that. As far as what else is going on around town, a lot of theaters are bouncing back from the pandemic, and maybe bouncing is not the right word because it's a slog. It's a Sisyphusian slog up the mountain. But we're not the only ones who have been working hard to come out of those sort of darker times. But I think people, and Chicagoans especially, are hungry for community experiences. Sitting at home and streaming is comfortable and easy, but it's not giving you those memories. It's not giving you those feelings of connection. It's not taking you out of your comfort zone and making you think and feel in the same way. And so people are coming back to the theater. There was a recent study done that says we are close to returning to 2019 numbers. So that is very encouraging. And that says a lot for how hopeful we are at Lifeline. We feel the future is bright, and we just have to make it through the ups and the downs.
I hear you. Well, we got a couple minutes left. So how about sharing the hopes and the dreams for the theater company, Lifeline?
Well, thank you for asking. We're actually embarking upon a strategic planning process that we are looking at our future. And one of the things that we are looking forward to being is not just Lifeline Theater, but being a leader in hopefully the community arts, and perhaps being a center, more of a center for other arts organizations. We have a wonderful building, and there are times when we're not making art, and we would like to invite other organizations to come make art in our building. And we never want to be dark. And we also know that we want, and hopefully that also plays into being a good neighbor in our street, in our organization, the neighborhood organization. We want other folks to be able to help develop that synergy and make those connections, which is just crucial in the times that we're in right now.
I love that word synergy, Chris. Thank you. And I want to just make an appeal to our Rogers Park neighbors, both businesses and residents, that, we're your neighborhood theater. You don't have to go downtown. You can spend your entertainment dollars right in Rogers Park. If you're a resident, and for businesses, we're helping bring foot traffic, and always have, like you said, Michael, about how we've sent a lot of people to eat at the Heartland in the past. I know you love us already. I know you're grateful for us. And we need you to come to that benefit, buy tickets, donate, show up as a sponsor so that we can continue to be your neighborhood theater.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming on live from the Heartland. And everyone should remember that you are going to have a fundraiser, a benefit showing it's called New Leaf, Friday, April 11th at 6:30. At Lifeline Theater at 6912 North Glenwood Avenue.